My name is Jeff Close, the inventor of Intrepid. We'll explain all the different things that you can do with Intrepid and have some fun with it. What you see here is the basic screen when it first comes up. The default screen comes up in a transit. Across the top, you will see a menu bar, file edit, action view, and in this, this is for people basically because people expect it. But to be honest, you don't need it. And down here, where it says menu bar, you can turn off the menu bar and you watch the screen change, and all of a sudden there's no menu bar, and you wonder, well, how can I operate the program? Well, it can operate completely without the menu bar showing. All the functions are in the buttons that are on the screen currently. But I will leave the menu bar back up for a time being because a lot of people are accustomed to them. One quick thing to note, the action menu that you see here is identical to the main menu down below here. And that's why, as I say, all the functions are the same. The inner, outer, and middle that you see across here are the same buttons that you see inner, outer, and when appropriate, the middle button will show in the lower corner. Now, the system has an online help, and if you take the mouse, as I am down here, to aspects, and it says toggles aspects display, except for tri-wheels. In tri-wheels there is no aspect display. So if I click on this, the aspects disappear. If I click back on it, the aspects come back out. Now there are some conventions that are different in Intrepid than in traditional astrology. This is somewhat cutting edge and new. You'll notice, for example, down here, Saturn is in the degrees and minutes are in red, while the point of fortune is black and several others are black. The red represents retrograde. There is no RX symbol used in Intrepid. When you see the red degrees and minutes, you know you are in retrograde. When they turn black, again, you know they have gone station direct. Now, the screen is controlled by the inner, outer, and middle buttons in terms of the different rings. And if you wanted to put something on the inner ring, you'd go up and go to the inner ring and say, oh, let's go to a birth existing or old. And it brings up the birth database screen, which we will talk about in the next, one of the next chapters. But we're just going to take the Astrological Bureau of Ideas, for example, and you'll see that when you bring up a chart, it puts itself on the inner ring, it leaves the transit on the outer. The transit can then be changed, if you want, to, say, a progression, as in a day per year. And you can take on the middle and, oh, let's just say you want to also see an arc-directed solar. Now it has inserted the arc-directed solar on the middle ring and has left the day per year on the outer. You can also change your ring once it's up there. Say you're tired of day per year and you want to look at transit. Just go to transit and poof, it changes it to transit. And this is one of the nice features about Intrepid is you can change rings on the fly, and then when you change the time, all rings that for which time has meaning, as it that are not static, they'll all move at once. Now, another feature is that you have 9 active charts simultaneously. And you'll see a listing down here in the lower left. These are the current 9 charts that I have. When you first get the Intrepid, you'll just see numbers 1 through 9, and you can name them. And you can go from one to the other just by sliding. And we've just gone to Abraham Lincoln, the day that he got his law license. But I'll take it right back to the screen we were starting from. In addition to having 9 charts, 9 user charts available at all times, we have extensive use of asteroids. And you'll notice here we have lists by J. Lee Lehman and Martha Lang Westcott, both very well known in the field for their work. and we have their lists. We'll do J. Lee Lehman, and you just let go, and all of a sudden, here you are. You've got 56 asteroids mentioned by J. Lee Lehman in her book, and they're all basically done for you. And you can sort them by number or by name. Here, let's see, they're already sorted by name. We'll sort them by number, and you see now, by number, they have changed in order. You can also create, before I go to that, there are the 8 trans-Neptunians. We do include those. And you may create your own list. And I have a short list here. And we will discuss, I'll give you a discussion of this later in a whole chapter on asteroids, just to let you know that it exists. The first 7,000 numbered asteroids can be calculated in Intrepid. They are included in the program. You can then add your own additional ones beyond that, and we do include some of the, about 9 of the large KBOs are also included. We are now adding, this is something new to version 2, a new database goes to the asteroids numbered up to 150,000. And you can find them in different methods of searching and then add them to the user list. However, if you go beyond 7,000, you have to remember to download the correct data. And in the user manual, there's a description of how to do that. But for the moment, so much for asteroids. We will move on. Common functions are sitting over here on the right in these little red windows on the right-hand side. If you want the sun not to show, you first can set it on the outer or the inner and middle, or on the outer. And I don't want to see the sun on the outer, so I click the sun off and it just disappeared down over here. I'll put it back up, sun appears. Take it off, the sun disappears. And I'm going to go back down to a bi wheel and put the aspects on, because if you also put the sun on, you notice that additional aspects come up. So aspects only show when the body itself, the symbol, is up on the screen. We have asteroids and upper harmonics, and planets, the upper harmonics, we will discuss later. There are a whole bunch of events that you can do. You can go from one quarter moon to the next, forward or backward. You can go to the next eclipse or the last eclipse. And you see it says finds exact lunar or solar. Oops, go into that again. Solar eclipse, geocentric or topocentric. Here you can do an aspect, and one thing that's particularly interesting about Intrepid is not only can you do aspects that go from one body on the outer ring to another body on the outer ring, but you can go from the outer ring to the inner ring. So it lists over here outer to outer and outer to inner. You can take your choice. Again, we'll discuss that more in a later chapter. Next grouping down, you'll see that a body that you choose, like the moon, enters a house, let's say, and it enters house 1. So all of a sudden, boom, the moon has now shifted to entering house 1. You can also just take something like the sun and say, I want to go to 10 degrees Aries in 11 minutes. You just hit go, and the sun over here has gone to 10 degrees and 11 minutes of Aries. You can also set your retrogrades and your returns here. And for returns in particular, you can go to the next return, or we can go to the last return. So this will take your returns backwards. Hitting this to next takes returns forwards, and you can do so continuously. And we also do precessed solar and lunar returns. We'll talk about that later. Undo works in not all cases, but it will undo with the last command. So it just took you back a year, and it'll undo it. So you toggle between these two positions. We're looking at up here the date, 2011 and 2012, and you're watching the change that occurs over 1 year. And you might look here at Uranus and say, okay, it goes from 1 degree 51 to 5 degrees 59. And we're toggling, it just toggles right back and forth. Now you can also move the time directly. And you can set it to weeks, months, years, and you can use this slider. It has even more increments. You can go up as much as 99 years. You can go all the way down to 1 second. A lot of the times you'll find 1 day will be very helpful. And you can go forward 1 day at a time, or if you want to have some fun and watch the wheel really fly, turn on continuous, and there it goes. You can even change that to go, if you want to slow it down. While it's in continuous mode, you can change it, and it goes, and just watch the hours. Down here, you can set the date, and we give you a calendar. We give you years, we give you the hours, the minutes, and the seconds, and AM, PM, so you can set the time yourself. Another feature, new to version 2, are fixed stars. And you just select, I have a list, this is you set up a user list, similar to the way you do with asteroids. Here it is, similar screen. We'll just talk about it later. And this gives you the longitude and latitude, as well as the name if it exists. Notice that not all the stars have names. We will give you a constellation, and we will give you the stars designation. And you can sort those the way you want and then print them. We also cover midpoints. We can do it in a 360-degree sort, which looks like that. And we can also do the midpoints in a tree form, which of course looks like that. If you want to generate your own ephemeris, you can do that with a table. We'll do it for March of 2008. We'll do it for 1 month. And there you have an ephemeris of the sun, moon, the north node, and the planets running across the top, across here, and the days of the month going there. If you had asked for more than 1 month, you would hit the next page button down here, and you can go as much as 12 months. You can ask for as much as 12 months at a time. Now, if you prefer the graphic type ephemeris, it's triggered with the same type screen. We look at March. We go 2008 for a month. It takes a little bit longer to calculate since this is graphical. And there you have it. And then you can watch the planets move as the days move. And unlike some graphical ephemerises, we start with 0 Aries at the bottom, and things move up, so that when you get a retrograde, it actually goes down, which to us just seemed more natural, and that's part of self-evident astrology. We tried to do things in a natural fashion. Now, I'm not going to do, I will do one of these later, but I will set up to show you over here on the right, a transit search. You set the month, the year you want to start, up to 12 months at a time. You can set topocentric or geocentric. The birth chart you can set which symbols, planets, luminaries you want, and transiting, you can set what you want. We have 9 primary aspects, and you can set the orb of aspect, integrating and separating. Integrating, also known as applying. Now, we give you a chance to set things the way you like it. So we give you preferences. And up along the top here, you can set geocentric or topocentric. Now, topocentric means the surface of the Earth, which in self-evident astrology for tracking individuals, we recommend it. If you're doing whole countries or something that's worldwide, then we recommend geocentric, which is based on the center of the Earth. You notice we have 10 different house systems, and if you happen to like Campanus, you can just click here, and notice it just changed all 9 to Campanus. But if you have a chart that you don't want to be Campanus, but you want to have Coke, you can change them individually. I'm going to turn them back to Placidus as a default, not that we're recommending Placidus, but just that it's the most common. Down below here, you'll notice we allow different zodiacs, tropical and heliocentric, and we'll deal with that again more later. Up here in the upper left, we have the north node of the moon. You can have the mean node and the true node. In self-evident astrology, we recommend the accuracy of the true node, but of course we leave it to the user to make that decision. LMT means local mean time. It's an option. You can put it on, put it off. I've got it on just for demonstration. And up here, daylight savings time, or DST, and you'll see auto, off, and on. And to my knowledge, this is another unique feature of Intrepid, that in the United States and Canada, but not in other countries, and not applicable to Arizona or those counties in Indiana that do not have daylight savings time, this auto feature will actually change from standard time to daylight savings and back again on the fly, and you don't have to do anything about it. And as we do this on the eve of daylight savings time, this will actually change. When we look at this tomorrow, this will change from Eastern Daylight Time to Eastern Standard Time, and it will have done so automatically at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It sets it back to 2, or is it 2 sets forward to 3, whichever part of the year you're in. You can set the orb of aspect for your different aspects, the conjunction, opposition, what have you. You just click and set whatever number of degrees you like. And there's a more detailed explanation of this in the user manual, but we do give you a lot of different options. We highlight or thicken certain, and if you look back on the aspects, like here's a square that is thin, over here that are squares that are thick. The thicker ones mean that they are now within 50% of the orb of aspect. They're halfway to exact. You can set this down to anywhere as low as 10% if you like. Last item in the preferences is either the true or apparent position. Most astrologers pick apparent position for working in the tropical zodiac, although you don't have to. And most, we recommend true position when working in heliocentric. And so you don't have to make that decision. We have auto set to zodiac, and if it's auto set, then you don't have to worry. It'll just set apparent for tropical and true position for heliocentric. And when you want to update things, you just hit update and it disappears. But there are certain preferences you might want to change on the fly for the fun of it. And so down here you can change zodiac, you can change topocentric, geocentric, and you can change house system, and you can do that on the fly to the active user chart that's on the screen. We print a lot of different things. You've seen a lot of things print out. We have I print with data. This is probably a screen that astrologers will find most useful. It contains a lot of information on the asteroids, the fire, water, earth, the cardinal fixed mutable, where's the vertex point of fortune, point of spirit. You'll see the speed that they're running at, the declinations are listed, and here you have on this corner is triangles and aspectarian, and in this section we have a midpoint chart. So we've got basically the whole shebang built in for you all at once. When you want a simpler chart, we have a print basic, and we'll go into these in more detail. That's just a simple chart, and it will reflect what you have showing on the screen. If the aspects are showing on the screen at the time, then they'll show in the printout. If they're turned off on the screen, they'll be turned off in the printout. And we have one particularly interesting one called Print with Extra Data. For those who would really like to know the sun's position, we have degrees, minutes, and seconds. And this is highly accurate. In the planets, your accuracy is within 1/100th of an arc second over plus or minus a couple thousand years, and it's nearly that accurate going plus or minus 5,000 years. To the right, we have the nodes of the planets, and we have those listed out. And something that, again, is fairly unique. There are other programs that do deal a little bit with planetary moons, but we deal with 13 of them, and they're listed here. The planet that is associated with Deimos and Phobos go to Mars, Io, Europa, Ganymede, Callisto to Jupiter, etc., and we show their position. The position that we show is not relative to the sun, but is the moon relative to its own planet. So if Io is sitting over here in Scorpio, 6 degrees Scorpio 44, that's Io relative to Jupiter. If we did Io relative to the sun, it would virtually always be in the same position as Jupiter is in, and we thought that that was not as meaningful as looking at Io with respect to its parent, Jupiter. We have one other chart, one other method of printing we'd like to show you, and we'll work from the upper menu here. And this is called Print Multiple Charts. It brings up the deluxe print menu. I'll center it over here. This gives you the option of choosing up to 6 charts that you can print all at once. You just select what you want: birth, birth plus data, birth plus transit, birth plus day per year progression. You have the option of selecting a cover sheet, and that's a sample. There are 12 cover sheets, one for each zodiac, and of course it'll automatically pick the correct one, so that the first sheet comes out in a very nice color cover sheet, and then the other pages, the printouts that you have selected, will then print out one at a time. And that is a quick run through basically everything that you can do with Intrepid in Chapter 1.